Hey guys, it's Kyla at the MJC, and we are continuing with our journey through the proposed parenting plan. Uh, we're going to talk this time about physical placement. But before I do, as always, this is just a reminder that nothing in this video is intended to be legal advice. It's a video, so I'm not able to analyze your specific situation to determine if this is the right paperwork for you, to determine whether a court is likely to approve what you are asking for, or to determine if what you're asking for is in your best interests. So, if you have those sorts of questions, I definitely recommend getting some legal advice. You can get brief legal advice for free here in Milwaukee County through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinics. If you are not in Milwaukee County, you can contact your local clerk of court to find out what resources are available up in your area. All right, so this time we are talking about physical placement. So before we talked about custody, which is decision-making power, physical placement is where the child lives and when they spend time with the parent they don't live with. So you're going to go ahead and write your children's names again. I know you have to write them a lot. So you've got the kids' names there. And then you can indicate whether you want to have shared placement. And this section is a little confusing because it says equal shared placement. But those of you who've been following this video series on the part 2 know that shared placement in Wisconsin is defined as the person with less time having at least 92 overnights in a year. So when we say equal shared placement, that could be essentially 75-25 would fall into this shared placement category. Or you can say that you want the child to be primarily with the petitioner or joint petitioner A. Again, if you go back to the very top, whoever's name is here. Or we can say that we want them to be primarily with the respondent or joint petitioner B. Again, just taking to the top, whoever's name is there. So you can pick which one makes the most sense for your situation. We're going to go ahead and say, because we did in our last one, that John and Jane are going to have the children live mostly with Jane and visit with John during specific time periods. All right, so then you'll want to put a placement schedule. So if you have a detailed or specific placement schedule that you're going to attach, you're just going to check 1 and say as listed in the attached document. If you don't have an attached document, you can fill out this just bi-weekly schedule here. It can be as simple as what most people do is they would put, so let's say mom, Jane, whose mom is going to have the first week, and then John has, let's say, every other weekend. So we could do that like this. So basically, we're just indicating who has the overnight. Or, if your schedule is more specific, if you're working in the Word doc, you could say, from, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. I don't know, I'm making this up. And then with Dad, 10:30 a.m. to midnight. I don't know. I made that up. But if you have a more specific one, in the Word docs, you can fit that. Those of you who are either working off a PDF or a printed form obviously will not have that much space. So that's kind of what we do there. And yeah, if this doesn't provide you enough space, or if your agreement is more detailed or really complicated or something, then you'll check number 1. And I should note, I keep saying your agreement, but for those of you who are filling this out jointly or in a stipulated part 2, you guys will, of course, need to agree on this. For those of you who are filing separately from your spouse in the contested paperwork or possibly in the default paperwork, you do not necessarily need to agree with your spouse. This is your proposal. And I know some folks will say, well, I'm flexible. What we usually recommend is put what you want. So if you want it to be, placement with Dad every other weekend, put that in this schedule. And then you can know in your mind, oh, if my ex comes in and says they want it to be Wednesday and Thursday instead of Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to say that's fine. like you can definitely do that. But if you and your spouse haven't talked about this and you don't really know where they are, we would recommend putting what you want as sort of your opening salvo here. And then the last part of placement is holidays. So you have a few options. You can go through and fill out this here. So you can say here, on Mother's Day, you can either say they're going to be with petitioner or joint petitioner A every year, or you can split and say with that person in even years, this person in odd years, or you can reverse that, this person in odd years, that person in even years. So you can do that and go through the holidays specifically. You can see it lists most of the major ones. There's also room for you to add religious holidays if your holiday, a holiday that is important to you isn't listed here. And there's some other lines if you have, just events that are important to you, our annual family reunion or whatever. So you can do that. I find that a lot of folks, especially who are joint, go through and they just want to, like, they've already agreed, either they have, something very specific they're going to put. So, with dad on Christmas, with mom all other holidays. Or if you just want to follow the normal schedule, you'll do that here. So you could just say, follow the normal schedule. So what that would mean is up here, if, the holiday falls in John's 2 days, he gets them. If it falls under Jane's days, then she gets them. Another thing some people will put here, especially if you agree, is they'll say, parties will agree on placements prior to the holiday. So I always tell folks, this is not very specific. Like, this is basically just telling the court, we'll figure it out. It doesn't really give you a very enforceable schedule. So if I come in and I say, court, I didn't get Christmas, and my only order says that we will agree on placement before the holiday, it might not be, very enforceable for a court to say, oh yeah, you were supposed to have Christmas. Versus if up here it says, that I am supposed to have Christmas Day every year, that's a lot clearer about what was supposed to happen. But if you and your soon-to-be ex or your spouse get along pretty well and you think we don't really need a schedule that, is all detailed and enforceable, we can figure it out on our own, that's something that some folks do. So we're just going to say that John and Jane are going to follow the normal schedule. But you definitely can go through and do all of these. I'm not going to make you guys watch me click everyone, but if you want to, you can go through holiday by holiday and say for each one what you want to do. So that is all for this section of the proposed parenting plan. Next, we'll come back. We'll talk about childcare and school and that sort of stuff. But until then, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you still have additional questions, you can come in and see us, at least during non-pandemic times, at the Milwaukee Justice Center. We are located in room G9 of the Milwaukee County Courthouse. All right, thank you again for watching, and I hope that you all go out and represent yourselves well.